Hello world, welcome to the Based Legos YouTube channel. I'm your host, Mac Kennedy, and on this channel, we are dedicated to building ideas. This is the studio so far. That's the Lego shelf, the posing mirror, the tripod, the foam roller, the yoga mat. We are going to master the body and the self in a way that has never been mastered before in this room. And we're going to start with our first project, Bodybuilding 101. So I have been a wannabe bodybuilder for pretty much my whole life. Since I was like 12 or 14, growing up a fat kid, I got into bodybuilding and I built a really solid foundation using the principles and the program that I'm about to show you. But I have never in my life been fully dedicated to building an astonishing physique. So I've decided that 2025 is dedicated to getting jacked. How to get jacked in 2025. This is me currently. I'm 190 pounds, 15% body fat, and my goal by the middle of summer, by the end of July, is to be 185 pounds, 8% body fat. My plan to get there is for next 3 months, from January 6th to March 30th, I'm going to gain 10 pounds of muscle, and I'll have to gain 24 pounds of total weight to do that. But ideally, I'll end up with 10 extra pounds of muscle by the end of the first phase. Once I get to my goal of 215 pounds, 20% body fat, I'm going to maintain that for a month. And then I'm going to get into a caloric deficit and I'm going to cut 30 pounds of fat. I'm going to get to 185 pounds, 8% body fat. So just to recap, currently 190 pounds, 15% body fat, going to 185 pounds, 8% body fat. I'm going to gain 10 pounds of muscle, maintain, and then I'm going to lose 30 pounds of fat in the next 7 months. So following the principles in this video, you can make your goal whatever you want it to be. You can just gain, you can just lose. I think this is a pretty good plan. Gain for 3 months, maintain for 1 month, lose for 3 months. Completely transform your physique. So how to get jacked in 2025. Gain 10 pounds of muscle, lose 30 pounds of fat in 6 months, or whatever your goal is. These are the 5 pillars of getting jacked. We've got mindset, we've got nutrition, we've got training, we've got recovery, and we've got community. Before we get into these pillars and break them all down, I just want to show you what this program is based on. So these two guys, Dr. Mike Israetel of Renaissance Periodization and Dr. Eric Helms of 3D Muscle Journey, have done a lot of awesome research in the field of bodybuilding and hypertrophy. Dr. Mike Israetel researched the volume landmarks, which will guide our volume and our progression in this program. And we'll talk more about it once we get into the training section. These are Dr. Eric Helms' research, at least a part of his research, the muscle and strength pyramids of training and nutrition. And the principles from the pyramids, that's what we base the majority of our training and nutrition on. So these guys did the research, wrote these awesome books and papers. I put them all together over the last 10 years. Like, I don't know what you guys have been doing. I've been just like nerding out on bodybuilding and making this program that's super simple to get jacked. Like, you got all the personal trainers out there, you got all the fitness programs out there, and not all of them are specifically dedicated to getting jacked, but this one is. This is bodybuilding 101. You come in, you do what it says, you get jacked. So this is weeks 1 through 4 of our 8-week training program, push pull legs. And this is the habit and task protocol that's going to keep you on track and accountable. So right when you sign up, you're going to link MyFitnessPal, you're going to set your calories, groceries, check your body weight, body fat, progress pictures. And as you go through the week, it's going to give you some forms to fill out. And at the end of every week, it's going to give you forms to adjust your calories. It's not even AI, it's an actual intelligent coach. It's going to teach you how to do all of the stuff that I'm going to show you in this video for yourself, recurring, so you can always just be getting jacked. And this is what happens when it works. This is my dad's last 6 months in the program. He's been following it meticulously. It's really impressive. And he has lost 40 pounds in the last 6 months, almost to his goal of 200 pounds, which is awesome. You can get these programs on the Based Legos store. There's going to be the 6 day a week push-pull legs program that I'm showing you now, along with 5, 4, and 3 day a week programs that are also going to be available. So let's get into the pillars of getting jacked, starting with mindset. Mindset is the most important and underlooked aspect of bodybuilding and life. You have a hunk of stone, the chipping tools, and unlimited energy, but what are you going to do with it? You must visualize in your mind what you want to become. You have to put that puzzle together in your head, what you want to look like as a lean and muscular person as you do the process. This is a picture of me on Mike Menser's body to get an idea of what I would look like with an elite physique. It works. Like it's hard to visualize that, especially if you feel like you're really far away from your goal of being jacked. It's worth putting your picture on the face of a ripped guy, and like then you can think about what it looks like when you're ripped and you meditate on that. Because without a very clear and convicted idea of what you want to become, it will be difficult to justify the work you have to do to make it happen, which is a lot. Some people will do this on default mode. Like if you're just hungry, like if you're really in it, you love bodybuilding, you're not thinking about other stuff. Like when I was in high school, I would just daydream about bodybuilding and pre-calculus. That worked for a little bit, but it wasn't discipline. Building a truly impressive physique does not happen by accident. It's 100% intention and 100% attention. So if you're not just like naturally inherently obsessed with bodybuilding, it's going to take dedicated mind work. You have to obsess over it for it to work. I'm currently at a phase in my life, I've realized recently that I need to spend more time in the dojo of my mind, creating a vision of the way that I want my physique to look and imagining the way that it feels, because I'm not in high school anymore. There's actual responsibilities now. So I'm not just daydreaming about getting jacked and getting all the girls. I have to put dedicated time to building a physique, and I have to just spend the attention, spend the time, spend the energy on it. You can only spend 10 hours a week in the gym. So when you want to put work into that goal, but you can't because you have to recover and like adhere to all of these guidelines that I'm about to show you, the extra work you can put in is in your mind, building the faith, the vision. One of the 3 daily habits in the app is to meditate for 20 minutes per day. In this case, specifically on bodybuilding. You don't have to do 20 minutes every day, or you can do more. You can also break it up throughout the day, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. You can follow the guided meditations and breath practices in the on-demand library, or you can freestyle on your own. The most important thing is that you learn to love spending time in your mind, creating in your head, working on belief and faith, and just bringing the vision to reality. And if you don't have a strong vision, then creating that strong vision and just pulling it to reality, getting obsessed with what you want. So that's mindset. Be this, harness that power, feel like this is chemistry process, you don't really know what's going on inside your body. Just send energy to your cells, feel that muscle grow, send love, bring it to reality. On to nutrition. Nutrition and training are the bulk of the information, the bulk of the practical information in this video. So I encourage you to get a notebook and take notes, and you can make this all work exactly for your current circumstances and situation. Or you can just follow along and see how everything works and sign up for the app where this is all already set out for you to do and just execute and get jacked. Nutrition. This habit is fundamental to having the energy to train productively and having the resources to not only recover the damage, but to rebuild new living tissue. I'm going to walk you through the steps of calculating calories and macros, and then we're going to build a sample meal plan using information from the nutrition pyramid that Dr. Eric Helms researched and wrote about. So the foundation is obviously behavior and lifestyle. On top of that, energy balance is what we're going to talk about, calories, and then macronutrients, protein, fat, and carbs. Between energy balance and macronutrients, that makes up about 80% of the effectiveness of your diet on body composition. So if you don't have those two things nailed down, the rest of this isn't going to be a huge needle mover. Next up, we've got micronutrients, that's vitamin, minerals, and fiber. Then nutrient timing, how we plan our meal throughout the day, how we distribute our macronutrients, and then supplements, how we fill in the gaps between all of those fundamental aspects of nutrition. Starting with energy balance. Energy balance is the state in which the number of calories consumed equals the number of calories expended. At an energy balance, body weight will stay the same. We're going to manipulate our energy balance along with the other variables on the nutrition pyramid to gain muscle, lose fat, and transform our bodies from a block of potential energy into something actually beautiful. There are three relevant numbers that we need to find for energy balance. We need to find basal metabolic rate, total daily energy expenditure, and our goal calories. So basal metabolic rate, BMR, is essentially how many calories it takes your body to function if you're laying in bed all day. It's the energy that your body uses at rest to keep vital organs functioning and breathing and keeping warm. So it doesn't factor in your daily activity level. So if you're a man, you can use this equation, the Harris-Benedict equation that I used, and fill in the blue numbers with your own weight, height, and age, and get your BMR out. Mine comes up to 1,950 calories. If you are a woman, you're going to have to look up the woman version of this equation on the internet. And this does not factor in daily activity. So let's factor in daily activity, our total daily energy expenditure, the total number of calories that your body burns in a day. And this is the amount of calories it takes to maintain your current body weight on average, and factoring in all of your activity. How do we find TDEE? We're going to use an activity multiplier and multiply that by your BMR to estimate how many calories that it takes to maintain your current body weight. I am very active, work out 6 days a week, so I'm going to multiply my BMR by 1.725, and that comes out to 3,360 calories to maintain my current body weight. Maintaining isn't what I want to do, though. Like I said, want to get up to 215 pounds, 20% body fat in the first phase of my training this year. So I'm going to gain 2 pounds a week. I'm going to add 1,000 calories to my total daily energy expenditure, and my goal calories is going to come out to 4,360 calories. The reason I'm adding 1,000 calories is because there are 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat. 7 days in the week, so you divide the number of calories in a pound of fat by the days of week, and you get 500 calories per day, plus or minus will affect 1 pound of change on your body weight every week. If you add 500 calories, you're going to gain 1 pound a week. 1,000, 2 pounds a week, subtracting the opposite. So all of this math is an approximation. We still need to transparently track our nutrition, our calories and macros, and our body composition to make sure that our math is right. And even if our math is right, then our body weight is going to change, and we're going to get further and further away from the math being right. We're going to have to update this on a regular basis as we make progress, or the progress is going to stall. Likely, you're going to need to make adjustments because you're going to gain or lose weight too fast or too slow. So there are instructions in the app every week that will guide you through this process on updating your calories and macros. But the important thing to know is that you don't want to gain weight faster than 2 pounds a week, and you don't want to lose weight faster than 2 pounds a week. So if you're doing either of those things, if you're gaining weight too fast, you're going to bring your calories down, and you're going to take it out using carbs or fat. The opposite also, if you're losing weight too fast, you're going to add calories back in using carbs or fat. So now we're into macronutrients. This is what makes up the calories in the day. First, we've got protein. This is the building block of all living tissue, and it's 4 calories per gram. Next, we've got fat, which is essentially the lubricant for the human machine and controls hormone regulation. This is 9 calories per gram. Then we've got carbohydrates, which are the body's primary energy source, and they are 4 calories per gram. Alcohol is actually a macronutrient too, but it is poison, so we're not going to put it in the meal plan, and it is 7 calories per gram. To find our macronutrients, protein is simple. We're going to get our body weight, our goal body weight, in grams of protein. So my goal body weight is 215 pounds. I'm going to use 215 grams of protein. Now for fat, we're going to multiply our body weight by 0.3 to 0.6, depending on your preference. If you like higher carb, then you should go lower fat. If you don't mind the lower carbs, then you can go higher fat. With like mine personally, I'm having 4,350 calories. I'm going to have a lot of carbs no matter what. So I'm going to go on the higher end of fat just to make sure that I have more than enough fuel to regulate my hormones in my skin and my hair and lubricate my joints and all that good stuff. So I'm multiplying my body weight by 0.6 to get 115 grams of fat. Now we need to find carbs, and that's simple. We're just going to subtract the calories from our protein and the calories from our fat from our goal calories, and that'll give us the remaining calories that we need, that we have allotted for carbs. And we're going to divide that by 4, and that for me comes out to 613 grams of carbs. So you're taking your goal calories, you are multiplying your grams of protein by 4, and you're multiplying your grams of fat by 9, and you're subtracting both of those from your goal calories. Now this is the number of calories you have for carbs. Dividing that by 4, because there's 4 calories per grams of carbohydrates, now you got your carbs. So to recap, I've got 4,350 grams, or 4,350 calories, 215 grams of protein, 115 grams of fat, 613 grams of carbs to go from 190 pounds, 15% body fat, 215 pounds, 20% body fat in 3 months. It's an aggressive bulk. So you can make this whatever your goal is. If your goal is to not gain 2 pounds a week, then you'll do the same exact thing with less calories. Now into the makeup of our food composition, our micronutrients. This is our vitamins, minerals, and fiber. So like I said earlier, calories and macronutrients make up for about 80% of the effectiveness of our diet on our body composition. And the micronutrients don't so much affect our body composition, but they definitely affect our health. So you could make progress, like especially if you're young and healthy, you could make progress for a long time just hitting calories and protein. Like you can eat protein shakes and Oreos and like pretty much just a bunch of junk and make progress for a while, but at some point you're gonna run into deficiencies in vitamins and minerals. So it's important to have a well-rounded diet, colorful, like the diet that you know what it looks like. It looks like this. It's grass-fed meat, it's fish, it's eggs, it's whole dairy, it's beans, nuts, grains, legumes, fruit, vegetables, beautiful, colorful, well-rounded. That's what your diet should look like. If you eat all of your food looking like this, at least like 80 to 90% of your food looking like this, you're probably not going to have any vitamin, mineral, or fiber shortages. But you can look up the recommended daily allowances of it. Like I don't know exactly what they are, but I know that I've looked at them a few times when I just am like smashing a healthy whole foods diet and I can crush them all. So this is a healthy whole foods diet. This is not all the foods by any means, but this is what a really good default grocery list to have always in your house. So we got the proteins, the fats, the carbs, we got the fruits, the vegetables, the seasonings. Yeah, these are all things that like I always have in my house, no matter what. And then I can eat other stuff also. So if you have the app, you're going to get all of these resources in the on-demand library. But if you don't have the app, you can also go to the description below this video and download a folder, a shared Google Drive folder of these resources. So you'll have the grocery list, a sample meal plan, an overview of the nutrition practice, and how to set, track, and adjust intake. So that's available for you to download and take away from this video. Onto nutrient timing. So some tips for nutrient timing. This is how we've got the calories, we've got the macros, we've got the micronutrients. So we have all the food, the amount of food, we've got it all laid out in front of us, a heaping mass of food that you're going to use to transform your body into something beautiful. Now we need to disperse it throughout the day and split it up because you're not just going to eat it all in one go. So some tips are to eat first thing in the morning and consistently throughout the day. If your goal is to optimize bodybuilding, then you got to do that. Like you can intermittent fast and get pretty ripped, but you got to have a constant flow of nutrients if you want to optimize your muscle situation. You want to space protein evenly throughout the day. Got to prioritize fast digesting carbs pre and post workout. Avoid high fat, slow digesting food pre-workout, and consume slow digesting protein before bed. So that's what this looks like in my diet in percentages. So you can see I've got protein evenly spaced throughout the day. In my pre-workout meal, I got low fat so that it doesn't take a long time to digest because fat's twice as many calories as the other macronutrients. So that's the only reason we're low fat here, just so it digests faster and you don't have food in your stomach while you're working out. And then we've got 25% of my daily carbs before, and that should be fast digesting stuff, not a ton of fiber. After the workout, we've got 25% of the carbs also. So 50% of our carbohydrates for the day are in those first two meals. Um, and then for bed, having slow digesting food like casein protein from dairy, Greek yogurt is my go-to. Um, and other than these tips right here, your nutrient timing can be pretty custom to your lifestyle. Like my lunch right here, 10% fat, 15% carb. Like I just never want to eat in the middle of the day after I go to the gym and then I eat a fat meal after the gym. I just want to like get into my zone working. So I'll just have like literally tuna and fruit or something like that, and then a big old dinner and pre-bed snack. Once you get all your percentages spaced out, and this is simple, like if you don't want to think that deeply, like it's really not that, they're not that different. Like you've just got more carbs around the workout, less fat before the workout. And that's pretty much all you have to think about, protein spaced out evenly. So this is what it looks like filled in with food. My 20% protein, 15% fat, 25% carb is over here now. So I've got 43 grams of protein, 17 grams of fat, 115 grams of carb for my pre-workout meal. The way that I did this is I used MyFitnessPal to create meals within their given macro constraints. First, I would throw all of the food for a given meal into MyFitnessPal, and then I would save it and I would check the macros that it has. And they weren't in alignment with my goal. So I would adjust all the portions of the ingredients in there until they lined up with the macro goal. And I did that for every meal and I saved all the meals. And now MyFitnessPal is just, I just click a meal every time. And most of the time I'm eating on my meal plan. Like sometimes I don't, and then I'll have to adjust it a little bit, but it's really nice to have all these meals saved so you don't have to be tracking your food all the time, because that's the main reason people don't do it. It's a lot of energy. So just invest that energy up front, make your meal plan. So then the only time you have to think about your nutrition is when you're deviating from your meal plan. You can really eat whatever you want as long as you hit your macros and make good progress. But I think the quality of the food will reflect in the quality of your physique. Love in, love out. Nutrition, a lot of information. So like I said, those resources are available for you in the description of this video. And the most important thing to remember is if you want to be big and lean, if you want to have more muscle mass, then you're going to have to eat a lot of healthy foods. So as long as your diet looks like this, as long as it is a lot of healthy foods, then you're on the right track. Like even if you're at a place, where you want to lose fat, but ultimately you want to have way more muscle than you have now, you could just eat a lot of healthy foods. Like you could eat 4,000 calories a day of healthy food. You could eat my diet and just train really hard, and you're not going to lose fat very fast, but eventually you'll just be fucking jacked, right? Like just eat a lot of healthy food and lift really heavy, and don't think too much about it. Like get this plan set in stone and then just follow it and go ham. Cool. Last part of nutrition is supplements. This is only 5% of the effectiveness of your overall diet. This is how you fill in the gaps. So we've got protein, creatine, krill oil / fish oil, multivitamin, and caffeine. Protein, I use a scoop of protein every day in my pre-workout oatmeal, as you might have saw on that meal plan. But I try not to ever use it more than once a day and eat all real food for the rest. And if I had like different circumstances, or like food was easier to eat, or there was more time, I probably wouldn't even eat protein powder. It does taste good though. But try to eat as much real food as you can. Like there's creatine in steak, but as much as I want to eat 2 steaks a day, I don't. So creatine I supplement. Krill oil / fish oil. I also don't eat as much salmon as I want to eat, so forgot to throw the krill and fish oil in there for the joints. I don't take a multivitamin right now. Maybe I should, but I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and like a really wide variety of foods, so I feel like pretty good in that front. And caffeine. I don't like pre-workout anymore. It's just there's just so much stuff in it, and like I'm just mature now, So I just drink black coffee. And that's it for nutrition. So I hope that nutrition was organized well enough for you to follow and to make your own calories, macros, meal plan, and have a good idea of how that works. If you need to go back and rewatch it, please do and take notes. And because I mean, it's gonna work. It's not bullshit. Like I'm selling the app, but this is all free information for you to use and get jacked, bro. So let's get into training. Okay. Training, we've got the training pyramid from Dr. Eric Helms. At the base of this training pyramid is adherence. If you don't adhere to the program that we're about to make, it's not going to work. Simple as that. Next up, we've got volume, intensity, frequency. These are the main variables of our training that we're going to manipulate and progress. So we've got progression. That's how we're going to change everything to get harder and make us better, bigger, and stronger. Exercise selection, what we're going to use to do it, the tools, rest periods, and tempo. For adherence, when you're building a training program, it's very important to select a number of training days that is realistic and you know you're going to be able to hit. As you will shortly see, each workout has a specific amount of volume to meet the total weekly volume requirements. So missing a workout would result in a substantial shortage of volume, maybe enough to not meet the volume landmark that you need to hit and not gain muscle. So you're putting in all this work, but not enough. And because you weren't honest with yourself, you're missing out on stuff. This can be avoided by picking a number of days that you know you can stick to. It's okay to miss workouts occasionally. And if it's planned, then volume can be made up for in other workouts. You can just do more sets on one day, or you can, instead of like if you're doing push-pull legs and you're gonna need to take a day off, do push-pull legs, and then on the last day do upper lower instead of doing push and pull for another. Or I'm sorry, on the last day just do upper instead of combining push and pull. It's that easy to take care of. But if you select 6 days a week and you only go 4 days a week, you're not going to get the results that you're looking for when you could if you just chose 4 days a week. We're using push-pull legs 6 days a week in this program. If you want to do a different style, these are the common splits for the different days a week. So 3 days a week usually is upper, lower, full body, or full body every day. 4 day splits usually upper, lower, upper, lower. 5 day split is push-pull legs, upper, lower, and 6 day split is push-pull legs times 2. So all versions of this program are available and ready to use on EverFit, or you can follow this video, take the principles, and make your own version of these splits, or just make your own split in general. Like you can get really creative with it, but these are the common ones that make the most logical sense. Simple, easy to follow. You can like, I'm pretty sure CBUM just as push-pull legs. Like you can take it all the way. Doesn't really matter. It's just about what you can stick to the best. Volume, intensity, frequency are main training variables. So volume is the total amount of work done during a training session, microcycle, mesocycle, or macrocycle. We're going to look at volume through the lens of the number of working sets per body part per week, and we'll get into that on the next slide. Intensity is the level of effort required to complete physical activity, and frequency is the number of times trained per week. So deeper look into volume. This is the volume landmarks that Dr. Mike Israetel that we talked about at the beginning of the video researched and made his Bugattis and Lamborghinis off of. Maintenance volume is where we start the program at. Maintenance volume is how many sets that it takes to maintain your current amount of muscle mass. And on average, that's about 8 sets per body part per week. Minimum effective volume is the least amount of work that it takes to gain any amount of muscle. And that is about 10 to 12 sets per body part per week. Maximum adaptive volume is the optimal amount of work to gain the optimal amount of muscle, which is an ever-changing number as your recovery fluctuates, as your fatigue fluctuates, as you get bigger and stronger and leaner. So that's not a set number, that's a progression. And at some point you get to maximum recoverable volume where you get to the point where you're doing the most volume that you can recover from. And if you do any more than that, then you're not going to be able to recover and you're not going to be able to make progress in your next training session. So we would like to stop our training before we pass maximum recoverable volume. So this training program that I'm about to show you progresses from 8 sets on week 1 to 20 sets on week 7, and then it drops back down to maintenance volume for a deload week of training. So these numbers are the averages. Like this will work for most people. Even though they might not be my optimal volume landmarks, I've been training for like 10 to 12 years. I'm probably still going to make progress doing this. Once I get to like a high level of like, I really can't even tell what level of bodybuilding I'm at, but once I get to like some level, like maybe 8 sets will be too much for my legs. Um, or maybe 8 sets will be enough for my legs to grow. So these landmarks are they're safe enough to follow, but you might realize that you don't need as much volume as the average, or you need more volume than the average to grow. So follow these. You're probably going to make progress unless you're a really high level bodybuilder. Just pay attention. Like like my legs are big, so they don't need as much volume. I can beat them up more than I can beat my chest up. So just pay attention to how it works and don't push yourself beyond pain, beyond joint pain. For intensity, we have absolute intensity, which is the weight on the bar, and we have relative intensity, which is perceived exertion. And the way we measure our relative intensity is the rate of perceived exertion, or RPE, which is how hard you try on a scale of 1 to 10. And the last training variable is frequency. The majority of body parts can be well developed with a training frequency of 2 to 3 times per week. The program that we are doing, push pull legs, uses the frequency of 2 times per body part per week. So you would want to go lower frequency for high fatigue exercises that like deadlift that take a long time to recover from, and you can go higher frequency on more isolated movements like bicep curls that don't take very long to recover from. So these are the 3 training variables that we're going to progress and work through to get jacked. Frequency, though, is not going to change. That's staying 2 times per week for push-pull legs. Absolute intensity is going to progress a little bit as you get strong. As you'll see, we have a rep scheme to keep up with. Relative intensity is going to progress, though. It's going to progress from 7 RPE all the way to 10 RPE. And our sets are progressing like this. So this is what the program looks like. Push, pull legs, okay? We've got chest, shoulders, triceps, Monday and Thursday, back, lats, biceps, Tuesday, Friday, quads, glutes, hamstring, calves, Wednesday and Saturday. So as we move through this program, volume and intensity are progressing to a high level. Set volumes progressing in accordance with the volume landmarks. Reps are increasing from the 7 rep range to the 15 rep range. RPE will progress from 7 to 10 out of 10, and weight will increase slightly as muscle is gained. You will aim to build muscle by gradually increasing the volume at which you perform the most effective exercises for each muscle group. You will begin with X weight for 2 sets of about 7 reps, and you will end at X weight, the same weight or a little bit more, for 5 sets of about 15 reps. As long as form stays consistently perfect, your diet is followed, and your recovery is adequate, you will gain muscle. And this is the progression, okay? So our sets per body part per week, going from 8 to 20. Our reps are going from 7 and 5 because we expect to lose 1 to 2 reps per set due to fatigue. So that's just factored in on average as 2 reps. So week 1, we're finding a weight that we can do for 7 reps at 7 RPE. And then we're going to do that weight again. And if it's the correct weight, we probably should only be able to get 5 or 6 reps of it. Then the next time we come back in week 1, we'll probably do it for 8 and 6 or 8 and 7 this time. We come back in week 2, you're going to do that same weight again for 9 reps. Now at this point, if you get like 11 reps with it, then maybe you can add a 2.5 to each side, because you don't want to progress too fast through this rep progression. If you start to get ahead of the rep progression, then you know you want to add a little bit of weight to keep up. On the other hand, if you come back on week 2 and it just so happens that you were just like vibing on week 1 and you can't get that same weight, then go down a little bit. Like, this isn't about lifting a certain amount of weight. We only need to know the amount of weight so we can keep consistent track of your muscles capability. Like, this isn't for your ego. So you always want to be doing a weight. You want to follow these reps. and you always want to be doing a weight that is for them. And the way that should optimally look, like say my 185 is what I can get on bench press for 7 and 5 at 7 RPE on week 1, and then I do 185 for this, like my chest is gonna be bigger, especially if I'm eating a lot of food and sleeping well. And then we deload. So this is basically what you're gonna do for every exercise in the program. And this is how you're gonna split up all of the exercises in the program. Okay. So now we're gonna talk about exercise selection. Wait. Before we get into exercise selection, this program automatically progresses every exercise from 2 sets on week 1 to 5 sets on week 7. Any other variations of the program, the 3, 4, and 5 day, the sets get even higher because there are fewer training days. So that's the sacrifice that you make for having less training days. Your training days are a little bit longer. The volume landmarks are based on averages and may not be exactly right for you. So listen to your body and don't push through joint pain. It's not worth pushing through joint pain. It's not helpful. If you're following the training and nutrition program with 90% plus adherence and you are not able to get more reps with the same weight session after session, then volume may be something to consider. Now we're going to talk about exercise selection. So the important factor with exercise selection is stimulus to fatigue ratio. This is important for bodybuilding and hypertrophy. Building muscle isn't about squatting, benching, deadlifting the most weight. It's about getting the most insane stimulus and flooding the muscle with blood, pumping it with nutrients. So choosing exercises that activate your muscles well and don't hurt your joints is key to making long-term progress. Plan on sticking to the same exercises for an entire training cycle. This is an infographic that Steve Hall at Revive Stronger made. I used to listen to his podcasts, and he would interview Dr. Mike Israetel, who made the volume landmarks, all the time. And it's a great learning resource, and that's like what a lot of this information comes from. He made this to overview the volume landmarks. Okay, so these are all the exercises, or these are all the body parts that we need to train for bodybuilding. These are their volume landmarks, and this is their frequency that you need to hit them in throughout the week. As you can see, it's a little bit more complex than what I showed you. And like I said, at some point, you might have to make tweaks because you realize that other body parts are stronger or weaker, or you have whatever variables that you have in your own life. I'm showing you this to show you how we're going to build out, how I built out push-pull legs. Okay, so we see that the frequency is 2 to 4 or 6 times on this table. We're using frequency of 2 times per week. So we're hitting quads twice per week, we're hitting hams twice per week, we're hitting glutes twice per week, right? So we've got quads, hams, glutes twice per week on push-pull legs, pull twice a week, push twice a week. So all of our exercises are being hit twice per week. Then you got to make sure you got your the exercises in there. So push is chest, shoulders, triceps. We have 2 exercises for each body part because we have a volume landmark, a maintenance volume of 8 sets to hit on week 1. And on week, like doing 4 sets of bench press would be fine on week 1. But if you're trying to hit your maximum adaptive volume of like 18 sets and you're doing chest twice a week, then you're doing 9 sets of chest on Monday, 9 sets of chest on Thursday. Unless you want to do 9 sets of bench press, you got to have 2 exercises. And maybe 9 sets of bench press is what works for you, and that's like totally acceptable. I'm just doing press and a fly because that is what I like to do. And if it doesn't work, we'll adjust. But that's why we have 2 exercises per every body part, because we got to meet the volume requirements. These are the exercises that I chose for me. Like I would say this is a little bit variated from a standard push-pull legs because I don't have an overhead press in here. I'm doing lateral raise and front raise because overhead press has just been killing my shoulder. And same with a dumbbell fly or a machine fly. I've only found that like the declined cable flies are feeling good for me. And I think that's like the main like things that I changed for me. But if you have any differences or if your gym doesn't have any of this equipment, then in the app, each of these exercises has a whole list of all the variations for that body part, that movement pattern in it. And if you're just writing this down, then you can just choose your whatever exercises you want to choose, but you've got a lot of options in the app. This is just my like, this is what I'm going after to do it. If you say that you want to gain muscle, but you keep doing an exercise that hurts you so bad, then you're being an NPC and you're walking into a wall on a loop. Okay. So we talked about stimulus fatigue ratio. Choosing exercises that activate your muscles and don't hurt them is a key to making long-term progress. I was doing overhead press for a long time before I was like, I don't care about being good at overhead press. I would just want to have jacked shoulders. And so it's like a little ego barrier you have to get through. And we all have them all the time. And at some point you might find yourself walking into a wall and just change the exercise for something that blows up your muscle and doesn't hurt it. Right? Because being jacked is cool, not walking into walls. The last segment of training is rest periods and tempo. Research suggests 30 to 90 seconds rest periods for hypertrophy, but use your best judgment and rest as long as you need to in order to get 1 to 2 less reps than the previous set. If you're following your RPE guidelines, the relative intensity guidelines, then you should be able to get 1 to 2 less reps than your previous set within 30 to 90 seconds. Sometimes you might need to wait 2 minutes. Sometimes you might need to wait 3 minutes. If you need to wait longer, you probably went over your RPE, but like it doesn't really matter. Just don't wait so long that your muscles get cold. Don't go back in so fast that you get like 6 less reps on the second set than you've done the first set. Just go back in when you feel ready to do 1 or 2 less reps in the previous set. And tempo, we're going to use a 2 to 3 second eccentric with a 1 second pause and stretch at the bottom, a 1 second contraction, and a 1 second squeeze. Your tempo can definitely vary, but the key is maintaining constant tension, controlling the weight all the way. You want the muscle to be flexed as it's going down, as it's stretching, and as it's pushing up. And you never want to unflex the muscle. Like don't rest on your chest, don't rest at the top. Be in it the whole set. Right? That's the only reason really we use a tempo thing to inform constant tension. So that's it for training and nutrition. Now we're going to get into recovery, which is like so much more of your time than training and nutrition. You're going to train for like 10 to 12 hours a week or so. You're going to get like in a rhythm with your meals and you're just going to eat them. But like all of the time when you're not doing that, you're just recovering from beating yourself up in the gym. So recovery is a pillar of being jacked. There are 3 must-haves for recovery. Sleep, 7 to 9 hours a night of high quality sleep, nutrition, hitting your calories and macros with high quality food, and proper training, which means sticking to the volume landmarks, not hitting maximum recoverable volume in week 2, because that's a silly thing to do, and sticking to your RPE guidelines so you don't overtrain. Those are the must-haves for recovery. That's the foundation of recovery. These things over here are also helpful. Active recovery, joint protocol, yoga, breathwork, meditation, sauna, cold exposure. There's habits for all of those things in the app to guide you through them. But if you aren't consistently checking the boxes of 7 to 9 hours of sleep, hitting macros with quality food, and training hard with perfect form, then none of those helpful hacks are going to help you recover for real. Like if you're not sleeping, you can meditate and cold plunge all you want, but like you're not really recovering because you're not sleeping or eating or training properly. That being said, if you are not sleeping, eating, and training properly, something like meditation, yoga, or sauna may be helpful to relax your body and mind. It's really important to get yourself into an abundant state where you're more likely to eat, sleep, and train optimally. All of these recovery tactics are forms of self-love and should be looked at as positive investments of time and energy. Show yourself that you care. Like yoga is a really good one because it's not like very hard, but it feels really good. And it just like reminds you that you love yourself. Yoga with Adrienne, the like #1 yoga lady on YouTube, she said that it's a generous act of self-love, and that's so true. The more you give yourself, you put into yourself, the more you're going to get out of yourself, even though it's hard to like there's a barrier to entry to all these things, but it's because they're awesome. And that is recovery. So the final pillar of getting jacked is community. And I overlooked this for so long, like since I got out of school and since like the community just wasn't always automatically there. Um, so this is the community of bodybuilding 101, the bodybuilding 101 forum. Once you join the app, you'll be filtered into here, and this is a space where we just talk about getting jacked. Um, yeah, my vision is to build a community that's invested in getting jacked and just for fun, like not for any ethical or moral reason. Like this isn't about, like, well, everything's about God for your own personal reasons, but like this isn't about God. This is about getting jacked. Um, this isn't about like being better than other people. It's just about getting jacked and using your body for what it's capable of being used for. the it's inspired by bodybuilding.com in 2012. That's when I got into bodybuilding, and that was definitely a time in my life where I was doing meditation in math class, thinking about bodybuilding, and I was wanting to train more than was productive. And so where I went in the times when I was like, what do I do with myself? Like I have all this energy, all this fucking like ambition, and I can't do anything because like I have to recover from my training and I don't want to like there's nothing else to do other than get jacked. So I went to the bodybuilding.com forum and I just read about other people's journeys and like just obsessed over bodybuilding. And like the more you put your attention and intention into something, the more you're going to get out of it. It's like it's almost ridiculous. Like you can just be stubborn. You can just be stubborn and get jacked. Just look at things that are about getting jacked all the time. That was a great place and I miss it. Miss the vibes. So let's do it again, dude. It's 2025. That's a really cool number. Um, so why not make it a really cool year? I'm going to share my progress and tips and updates about the app in this community forum, and it'll be like deeper and more personal than my Instagram because it's going to be like not trying to get people on the app, not trying to advertise. It's going to be about getting jacked, which like is a whole different process than building a business. So you guys will get to see me in there, like actually like struggling and being a person and not trying to look perfect. So my hope is that you all join this conversation, share your progress and ask questions and support your peers. And that is it for this video of how to get jacked in 2025. So we talked about gaining 10 pounds of muscle and losing 30 pounds of fat in 6 months. And we also talked about making a different goal if that's what you want. We talked about mindset and really building a vision and getting to a point where you believe that you can actually achieve that goal because you can see it and you know what it looks like. It's just like a matter of time before you get there. Um, and we talked about nutrition, how to fuel, how to recover, how to eat nutritious foods to make you a vibrant and vital person. We talked about training, how to just get fucking jacked and how to do it properly and smartly. And we talked about recovery, sleep. We talked about sleep and training and nutrition in recovery. It's all that. It's super simple. Super simple. It's all just about not overthinking it. So we have the community where we avoid overthinking together and just talk about how cool it is to get jacked and share the wins, share the losses, do cool stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it was helpful. I hope you got some practical information out of it, and I hope that you feel inspired to act it out because I really do. Let's get jacked this year. To get started with the app, follow the link in the description to choose your 3, 4, or 5 days, 3, 4, 5, or 6 day bodybuilding 101 program. And follow me on Instagram at Based Legos for daily updates on my progress. Let me know if you have any questions on getting started, and I hope to see you inside the app. And I will see you next time. Maybe we'll have some more Legos built in there. Eventually, like this is gonna be a whole like gym with like there'll be a DJ booth, there'll be some Legos. But we're building something epic here. So look forward to getting to know you guys. And I really look forward to getting like for real jacked. For real jacked. Peace.